We have been talking a lot this year about Indiana's governor and his controversial push for education reform. But our viewers in Northwest Ohio are governed by a man making equally bold changes. John Kasich just took office 4 months ago, and to say he's burst onto the scene would be an understatement. We traveled to Columbus to meet this rebel with a cause.
You know, when I was in Washington, a lot of people didn't like what I was doing to upset the apple cart there, and we got stronger. We'll get stronger in Ohio, and that's all I really focus on. I focus on the children and families.
Recognize this face? Maybe you remember him as a congressman leading the charge toward balanced budgets in the 1990s. More recently, you might have seen him as a conservative host on Fox News Channel. Now, John Kasich occupies the Ohio governor's office, and his first few months on the job have been about as subtle as a stampede.
He has, by his own admission, sought to run over his political opponents. He said, if you're not willing to get on the bus, you're going to get run over.
My goal is to lift the state. I'm doing this, and I believe this formula will work for my state.
Kasich's formula has one end goal in mind: to create jobs and revive Ohio's slumping economy. But he's administering tough medicine to get there, cutting funding for schools and local governments, and privatizing some state assets to wipe out an $8 billion deficit, overhauling the state's economic development approach, and calling for more charter schools and school vouchers, though some Ohioans are on board. What do you think of Governor Kasich?
He's pretty good.
The agenda hasn't exactly made him Mr. Popularity.
You think he's screwing up a lot of people, huh?
Yeah, he's giving them the shaft, and they don't like it.
Among the more controversial bills Kasich has pushed through the State House, Senate Bill 5, a bill that severely limits collective bargaining rights for state workers. Now there's an effort in the works to get that overturned via referendum.
This is not an attack on anybody, but if you have a private sector worker that's on average paying 23% of their health care costs, and your average city worker is paying 9%, you know, trying to create a balance is not anti-anything.
Some of his critics say it's not just Kasich's policies, but his personality that's dragged his approval rating down to around 30%.
Governor Kasich loves to throw elbows. He is the kind of person who wants to marginalize his political opponents in a way that seeks to elevate his own stature, diminishes those who have an alternative viewpoint.
Kasich admits to being direct, and his strong personality overwhelms any gathering he's involved in, like this staff meeting.
Look, I don't want to talk to Kemp. To talk to his staff. But it doesn't solve the problem, as I'm told.
For now, though, Kasich doesn't care about being liked, hasn't even thought about re-election, and says he won't back away from bold change, confident that his direction is Ohio's pathway out of an economic malaise.
Economic strength is that heals everything. It heals our communities, it heals our families, it lifts our children. So that's what the drive is really all about.
By the way, Governor Kasich says he realizes our viewers in Northwest Ohio feel they've been overlooked by state leaders in the past, but he says those days are over, that he will be visiting those counties regularly, and that help is on the way.